11 things to know before you go to Fukushima Prefecture in Japan. I'm Chris, this is Yellow Productions. I do travel guides that are fun, informative, and entertaining. This video is part of my series on Fukushima and larger series on Japan. If you want to see more videos on Fukushima or Japan, you'll find links in the description below. Each one of the scenes in this video I'm going to be doing in a different part of Fukushima, so you get to see a bit of the prefecture as you learn about it. So the first thing to know is just some general information about Fukushima. And to start, Fukushima is a prefecture. It's kind of like a state in the US. It is the third largest by land area of Japan's 47 prefectures. Fukushima is about 200 kilometers north of Tokyo. You can get here on the Shinkansen. We'll talk about that in the getting here part. Fukushima has a population of 1.8 million people. It's a mostly rural prefecture with mountains, winding roads, sake breweries, ramen restaurants, cherry blossoms, hot spring resorts. There's a lot of great things to do here, and a lot of them revolve around nature and eating. So the reason why you want to come to Fukushima is for a more authentic experience than perhaps Tokyo or Osaka or Kyoto that are full of tourists and everything is touristy. In Fukushima, you'll be greeted much more by the local Japanese, you'll have much more local Japanese experiences, and you'll probably be seeing a lot less tourists here because only really 2% of the international tourists that come to Japan visit north of Tokyo. Fukushima Prefecture is divided into 3 regions. The first region is the Aizu region. This is the mountainous region. This is where we're shooting most of this video, and this says Aizu, by the way. Instead of just waving my hands about the region, I'm gonna show you a little map right here. We're here in Aizu region. The central region is called Nakadori. This is more flat, and Koriyama and Fukushima, the 2 big cities in Fukushima Prefecture there, this is where the Shinkansen line runs through. And over here on the coast, this is known as the Hamadori region. This region is cooler, and Ibaraki is one of the big cities over here. It's got a famous water park. And by the way, the temperatures are generally going to be more mild along the coast and then kind of getting colder in the winter here in the mountains. And the second thing to know before you go to Fukushima is about what to do. And there's so much to do in Fukushima that I've broken it out into its own video. You'll find a link in the description below or at the end of this video to my 20-minute long video about just things to do in Fukushima. Fukushima Prefecture is often known as the kingdom of fruits, and so there's lots of fruits that are grown here. Different fruits in season. We are here in winter, and so winter is for strawberry picking, but your season, you can pick what you want, and many of these farms offer places where you can come and not just pick, but you can come and pick and eat. This farm that we're at, they charge 1,500 yen. Whoa, I dropped that strawberry. They charge 1,500 yen, and you can pick and eat as many strawberries that you want. By the way, there are 2 varieties of strawberries in this farm. There's small ones and there's big ones. The small ones, they don't grow bigger than this. There are 2 varieties. So let's see how this little one is. It's sweet. It's grown indoors. They heat this up so it's nice and warm in here. So if you like fruits, take a look at what fruits in season and find a pick and eat place. By the way, speaking of eating fruits, let's go on to the next thing you need to know is what are the things to eat in Fukushima Prefecture. Turns out there's so much great food here that I made that its own video too, 20 minutes all about the must-eat foods in Fukushima. You'll find a link to that in the description below or at the end of this video as well. But what I do want to share with you in this video is about sake. When you come to Fukushima Prefecture, you definitely should drink some sake. Why? Because there's over 60 sake breweries in Fukushima Prefecture, and actually much of the sake that's made here is only sold in the region, and so it's a great thing to try when you're here. Now, I will tell you that sake, before we came on this trip, I wouldn't say I was a lover of sake, but now having sampled lots of sake in almost every meal here in Fukushima Prefecture, I appreciate more the varieties of different types of sake, and so I would definitely encourage you to try. There's regular sake, there's fruit sake, there's sparkling sake, and when you're looking at sake, if you're trying to decide which one is better, here, let's take a look at one of these bottles actually. On the back of the bottle, it'll generally have a number, something like this, that'll tell you how polished it is. So this one is 50% polished, which means there's half of the rice remaining, and this one is 35% of the rice remaining, so this one's gonna be a higher quality sake. The lower the percentage number, the higher the quality. because there's less rice left. You should know when to go to Fukushima. Fukushima Prefecture has all 4 seasons: summer, winter, spring, and fall. We are here in the winter, and if you come in the winter, it is a winter wonderland, but Fukushima is quite cold. But if you like skiing and snowboarding, you can ski and snowboard in the winter. You can visit snow festivals. There's lots of cool things to do in the winter here. If you come here in the summer, it'll be hot and it'll be the rainiest. I think the best time to come is spring or fall. If you come in spring, the cherry blossoms will be in bloom, and if you come in fall, then you can see the changing of the leaves. Now, your other thing to look at on where to come, take a look at some of the local festivals that are in town and try to maybe time your visit or your visits to different cities when they have the festivals. Oichijuku has a snow festival, and there's a whole bunch of other festivals all year round in this prefecture. So the 5th thing to know before you go to Fukushima is about getting into Fukushima, and there's a few different ways you can get into Fukushima. The first one, you could fly. Fukushima has its own airport, but the airport into Fukushima mostly just has domestic flights coming from Hokkaido, Sapporo in the north, and Osaka in the south. So chances are if you're flying in, like we flew into Tokyo, and then we took the train in. There's 2 major ways that you can take the train into Fukushima Prefecture. The one that probably most people think about is the JR Shinkansen. That's the bullet train. That'll go from Tokyo Station, and then there's 2 stations in Fukushima Prefecture, Koriyama Station and Fukushima Station. From Tokyo, it's 80 minutes to Koriyama or 90 minutes to Fukushima. Koriyama will probably be your dropping off point to go to most other parts of Fukushima. But another train line that many people don't know about, and actually I didn't know about until we came here for this trip, is the Tobu Skytree line. They have the Revity Express train that you can take. The Revity Express, it's one train that'll take you from Asakusa Station in Tokyo to the Aizu region of Fukushima Prefecture, which is the mountain region, which is kind of a neat way to get there, and it drops you off in the center, and it's just one train. If you take the JR way, you have to take a few different trains to get into the mountain region. So if you're taking the Shinkansen, the total travel time with connections to the Aizu region, the mountain region, where most of the tourist stuff in Fukushima is about 3 hours, and the cost is 9,000 yen. Now, if you're taking the Tobu line, it's about the same amount of time, it's about 3 hours, but it's one train, you don't have to transfer, and the price is about half of the Shinkansen, 5,460 yen. Now, another option from Tokyo to get to the Aizu region, you could take a bus. You could take a highway bus. JR operates highway buses. They leave out of Shinjuku Station. They take about 4.5 hours, and they cost about 5,000 yen. So I don't know why you'd want to do that, because for 400 yen, you could take a much more comfortable train. And the last option is you could drive. Actually, Fukushima is a pretty rural neighborhood, so if you've ever wanted to drive in Japan, drive in the mountains, Fukushima might be a good place to do that. I would not recommend getting a car from Tokyo, because driving in Tokyo can be kind of crazy. I would recommend taking the train into Fukushima Prefecture and then picking up a rental car from there. By the way, one of our favorite rental car companies is Toyota Rent-A-Car. We typically rent from them, and you'll find their rental car places all over Japan by the major train stations. Once you're in Fukushima, you'll need to know how to get around Fukushima, and I'm joined by a special guest right here, Labu-chan. He is the station master of the Aishiromaki Onsen train station, and he told us that really the best way to get around is definitely to take the train, since he is the station master. By the way, if you want to see more of him patrolling the station, you'll see it in my Things to Do video, because visiting him is a great thing to do. Now, Labu-chan has a chief engineer. His name is Peach. He's kind of tired because he worked all night last night. But what Peach wants you to know about taking the trains in Fukushima, they don't run quite as often here as they do in Tokyo and Osaka. Many of the trains only come once an hour, so make sure to pay attention to the schedule, because you'll want to make sure you're there on time for your train. Hey, you know, another way you can get around Fukushima is by snowshoes in the winter, which is really neat. But I recommend that if you've ever wanted to try driving in Japan, Fukushima Prefecture is a great place to do that. You can pick up a rental car. The roads aren't crowded. It's pretty easy to drive around here. If you are going to be driving in the winter, I'd highly recommend, you need to get winter tires. You would need to ask the rental car company for winter tires. And maybe don't drive if it's like, super snow downpour. Other options, there's taxis. You can take taxis, though they're not super plentiful. And there's many sightseeing buses that run through Fukushima, though the sightseeing buses are typically seasonal. So make sure you check the schedule, and then make sure you also get there on time for those buses, because if you don't, a lot of them only run once an hour, just like the trains. You need to know about shopping. Some of the great souvenirs to bring back from Fukushima, besides food, and you'll find food everywhere, are folk crafts. One of the folk crafts you're going to see everywhere in Fukushima Prefecture is this guy. Actually, this is the traditional one right here. This is the akabeko. It is a red cow. You will literally see this red cow everywhere. So this might be the first time. If you come here, you'll see it a lot more. Little red cow. But take a look at this one. This is a little priest. You'll see this little priest everywhere. There's big ones, there's little ones. And then if we look to your left over here, we'll see painted candles. See the painted candles have the akabeko. You can also get ones that float, or you can get tall ones. See the floating ones right here? This candle floats in this water right here. Another craft specialty of the region is lacquerware. You'll find lacquerware in cups and bowls and spoons and chopsticks and almost anything you'd want. It ranges in price from like 500 yen to 8,000 yen. And finally, Aizu cotton. This cotton, it's a fabric that's made here, and it's typical that it will have lines on it that'll go in one direction. You can get these bags. These are really useful. I use them to keep my electronics separate. You can get a koozie. This one's in my color, and you could even get like scarves. You could get coin purses in the Aizu cotton. So when you come to Fukushima Prefecture, if you're trying to look for one place to buy a lot of souvenirs and do shopping, Oichijuku as a town is a great place to do that. There's also a great shopping street by the castle in Aizu Wakamatsu. And finally, if you're staying in an onsen hotel, they almost have everything you'd ever want to buy from Fukushima Prefecture right in one spot. The eighth thing you need to know is about hotels. If you're looking to stay in Fukushima Prefecture, well, you'll find big Western business hotels mostly around Fukushima Station and Koriyama Station, but my recommendation to you is to stay in a traditional Japanese hot spring hotel known as onsen hotels or ryokans. We stayed in a traditional ryokan, actually where I'm shooting this right now. It's a hotel called Okawaso in the Aizu Aishinomaki Onsen town. This is one of our favorite hotels we stayed on in this trip, and so if you want to stay in a traditional Japanese hot spring hotel, this would be one that I'd consider you looking into. I'll have a whole video just about this hotel. You can check it out later. But another option is you could stay in guest houses. In the town of Oichijuku, they have little guest houses that are like bed and breakfast that you can stay in for an even more boutique hotel experience. Onsen hotels are like little resort hotels. And I say little because this one's 110 rooms. It's not like some Walt Disney resort. But when you come to an onsen hotel, and you should, because I've suggested it for you, you should plan to check in at the check-in time at 3 p.m. and spend until 10 a.m. the next day. It's almost like they've got everything here. They do shows at this particular hotel. They have like a rice pounding show here. They have a ramen restaurant. And then of course they have hot springs that you're going to be able to dip into. And we'll talk about that in the onsen section. But don't just look at an onsen hotel as something that seems expensive because you're just going to sleep there. You're not. You're going to come in at check-in time and you're going to stay until checkout time. Now, before you go to Fukushima, you need to know about onsens. Fukushima Prefecture has over 130 different onsens. Those are sources of hot spring water boiling up from the ground. And so there are a lot of onsen hotels here, and we're in the private onsen bath, which is really nice because most onsen hotels, you have to be naked with a bunch of other people. And here we can just be naked by ourselves for 45 minutes for 3,300 yen, 30 US dollars. You do have to be staying at the hotel to reserve it, but it's really nice, and we get this big open air bath all to ourselves. We get to see the snow, and so I would definitely encourage you to stay at an onsen hotel when you're in Fukushima. By the way, if you want to know more about like the etiquette for onsen bathing and things like that, I've got a whole video to tell you how to do it, what to do, what you do with the towel, what you do with the buckets and things like that. So you can totally figure it out because I did. So if you don't want to spend the money to stay in an onsen hotel, or you don't want to go to a public bath because you don't want to get naked with other people, another way of enjoying the hot springs is public foot baths. Fukushima Prefecture actually has a number of public foot baths. This one right here that I am currently feet bathing in is in the Yunokami Onsen Station in the Aizu region, and it's free. The water's hot, it's relaxing. You should definitely try this. I feel like this is definitely a only in Japan and only in Fukushima experience. And it's particularly best in the snow. Sitting here in the hot water, enjoying the snow view. It's February, but I can actually have all of my jackets off to do this because this hot water is keeping me quite warm. So the 10th thing to know before you go to Fukushima is the answer to the question, is it safe? And yes, it's absolutely safe. The nuclear disaster was 10 years ago, and while radiation levels are elevated in the prefecture from where they were previously, just slightly, and so the radiation levels in most of the prefecture are similar to Hong Kong or London, which are super safe places. And the off-limits zone around the Daiichi nuclear power plant is less than 3% of the prefecture. It's about the size of the District of Columbia. And you would have to spend a year in the exclusion zone to be exposed to a level that's considered unhealthy, but that's actually off limits, so you wouldn't be going there. So it's completely safe. And a lot of people wonder about the food. Japan has enacted strict limits for testing of radiation in food, and their regulations here are actually 12 times more strict than that in the US. And so all the food that gets grown in Fukushima is tested, and they make sure it's healthy for people to eat. And the last thing to know is I've got more videos before you go to Fukushima. You'll find links in the description below. You'll find a couple of them on the screen. I have a usual farewell that I wish you, but from this video, I'm just going to wish you farewell with the snow from Fukushima.